What is going on, DFS Kings? Clark here, and bringing you the Thanksgiving Fantasy Football DraftKings slate. I am super excited to be here and bringing this video to you. This is my first video that I have made, so I hope it goes well. Let's see how this goes. If you like the video, don't forget to leave it a like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. It will help me expand my channel, bring you guys more and better content. Hopefully that is the goal. And also follow me on Twitter. I love to interact with people, talk sports, whatever it is. You can say hi. At DFS Kings 1 and at Clark Dumart are my two Twitters that I use. One for fantasy, one's more my personal. So yeah, if you get to me on there, hit me up there, and I will for sure get back to you. So yeah, so let's get into it. I'll just be bringing you just some of the favorite plays I have for this week. I don't want to get too detailed into this, but let's start it off at quarterback. We've got 3 games. There's really only 2 quarterbacks I'm debating here. So first quarterback I like is going to be Deshaun Watson. He's probably going to be pretty chalky this week. Bear that in mind. So you may have to get a little bit different elsewhere if you're going to be rolling out with DESHAUN. But I really love this guy's style this year. He just decides that he'd like to throw touchdowns every single game, do it with his legs. This is going to be probably a blowout in favor of Houston. Detroit's defense looking pretty weak pretty much year-round. They're going to tear him up. I think if you're going to look for any stacks, look at the Houston stack with Watson with one of his receivers. I'll get to the receivers in a few. Not looking at Lamar Jackson this week. I am going to be looking at Big Ben Roethlisberger. The veteran here has just been consistent in throwing a ton. 92 pass attempts his last 2 games. That's outrageous. Especially in games that they are blowing out. I mean, they've given up 13 points. They've scored 63 points the last 2 games. And against Baltimore, that has kind of been on the decline the last few weeks, especially since that loss against New England. Hell yeah. Shout out Cam Newton. So this is going to be a good game, I think, to watch. I think Pittsburgh's going to come out on top, and I'm confident in Ben throwing for at least a couple. Lamar Jackson, not so much. Not looking at Stafford, Dalton, or Smith. If you'd like to go dumpster diving, those might be the guys for you. If you're playing like 100 lineups, yeah, maybe put them in there, but not for me, not this week. Running backs, let's get into just a few guys I'm looking at. I'm not really looking at Zeke. Yeah, he had a good bounce back week, but I'm not going to be looking at him. If Swift is healthy, take a look at him. He's been like the guy in Detroit for most of the year. He's just been proving time and again that he can get it done with his legs. I mean, over 100 yards only once this year, but he's involved in the passing game. You look at his most recent performance. I think it's gonna be pretty vintage Swift. He's been kind of on the rise. Minus 1 game in a tough matchup versus Indy, where I'm guessing they were throwing a ton that game, but. Look at Swift if he's healthy again. We won't know until probably the morning of Thursday. You want to give him as much time to recover from that concussion that he had. So I would look at Swift if he's healthy. Other than that, don't look at Connor. In my opinion, I think Baltimore's run D is too strong, and Connor's not getting the volume. Antonio Gibson, I would strongly advise you look at. I will be playing plenty of him this week. He's been super consistent. He's been pretty much the workhorse back in Washington. I'm confident he's going to be scoring a touchdown almost every single week. I mean, you look at his year production, right? The last 4 weeks, it looks like 5 touchdowns the last 4 games, and then add 3 more onto that from earlier in the year. He's got 8 touchdowns this year. I think he's just a machine. And against Dallas last time he played, he had 128 yards on 20 touches, and even 1 target through the air then, but yeah, he might be good for a catch or 2, but then I think if you get you a touchdown, maybe 100 yards rushing, that'll pay off value. So I like him at 6K. Not looking at Duke. Now, interesting with Dobbins and Ingram on the COVID list now for Baltimore. I would take a look at Gus Edwards. Now, he will be a popular play this week. but at the bare minimum at 4K, really hard to go wrong here, even if he is like 40% owned, especially in the Millionaire Maker. This guy has not really been getting too much volume this year, but when he does, it looks like he can run the ball. I mean, he's a strong guy. He's not really involved in the passing game. That's where they're going to probably lean on Justice Hill. So that could be a good pivot play if you are looking to differentiate a little bit. But it's really just, you can look at Hill as being a punt versus Gus Edwards, a little bit higher floor. He is going to be touchdown dependent. So bear that in mind. We'll move over to receiver, which moving right along here. Terry McLaurin, #1 option in Washington. Probably my favorite play on the entire slate for all receivers. I mean, every single game he's getting it done. I mean, he's getting almost 10 targets a game. You know, he hasn't really hit the end zone too many times this year, but you know, maybe this is the week he can get it done. And against Dallas, that is really kind of poor through the air, you know, defending. So I like McLaurin a lot. Only 7K. It's not really going to break the bank. Will Fuller, I'm actually going to be fading. I'm going to be playing Brandin Cooks over him. He's $1,100 cheaper, and I think therefore a great play. He's going to be well worth it. Similar upside to Fuller. He's going to be all over this Detroit defense. I think look to exploit them. If you want to stack, if you can stack both Fuller and Cooks, you can do it. But I think Cooks I like a little bit more just because of the price point. So if I'm going to be playing Deshaun Watson, you're going to want to put a receiver with him. I think Cooks is your guy. Other than that, Amari Cooper, not a bad play against Washington. He looked a lot better with Dalton last game. Getting a lot of targets, so I think he's got a good volume, enough for him to get some yards in there. And against Washington too, he went off for 7 for 80 last time that they met. So I think if you're looking for 10 to 15 points minimum, look at Amari Cooper. Fair price point, $5,700. I'll take that. That's fine. And then looking at Pittsburgh, you're going to want to get a Pittsburgh receiver in there, if not both. Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool. Real quick, looking at Deontay Johnson, I mean, he's been the #1 receiver. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, look, 16 targets, 11-10. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, 26 points back-to-back games. He has found the end zone once there in that span. And then you look over at Chase Claypool, and similar, not as much volume as far as targets. But he's still getting plenty of targets, and he's the guy that really Ben's looking at in the end zone. I mean, he's averaging basically a touchdown a game. The guy's an absolute beast. So I would look at one of those, if not both, if you're going to look to stack Pittsburgh and you're going to play Ben at quarterback. So look at one of those guys. Other than that, I'm not really interested in anyone else. Maybe Kiki Kiti at Detroit. You got Cobb out with an injury. If you're not going to be playing Fuller or Cooks, you want to get a little bit different, go with a value play and QT. He's probably going to be their 3rd receiver, maybe 4th if Stills is healthy as well. But he did get a touchdown last game in the half that he did play. So interesting there. We'll look at tight end. Eric Ebron, my favorite tight end on the slate. I mean, this week, $4,100, can't go wrong. The dude is pretty consistent, and he's one of the guys that one of the only guys Ben kind of looks to in the red zone. I mean, you got Claypool, obviously Deontay Johnson here and there, but Eric Ebron consistently getting looks in the red zone. You know, he's getting 6 or 7 targets a game. Last time he met with Baltimore, it looks like he had 4 for 48 and a touchdown, which I like. Baltimore's defense has been showing some of its weakness last few games. So I think this could be a good opportunity for Ebron to repay value. The only other 2 guys I'm looking at tight end, I'm not looking any cheaper. You don't really have to. But T.J. Hawkinson, if Galladay is out, I really like Hawkinson. If Galladay is in, I only kind of like Hawkinson. He's getting lots of volume, but the consistency has lacked a little bit. You're going to need him to get upwards of 12, 13 points for him to repay value, which he definitely can do versus Houston. So I don't mind that play, but I think you can just go with Ebron and move on. Even Mark Andrews, not a bad play. He's the most expensive tight end at $5,200, but last couple games, I mean, he's got 16 targets and a touchdown in that span, over 150 yards receiving. I mean, he's kind of picked it up like he did earlier in the year, then he kind of just dropped off. So just be careful of that. Pittsburgh D is going to come to play, and Lamar Jackson cannot throw the football, it turns out. So I would just look elsewhere. I think you have plenty of options. And then lastly, we'll just look at the defense. I'm most interested in the Steelers. They will be probably close to 50%, if not more, owned in the Millie Maker, I bet. But for a good reason. I mean, all year, they're pressuring the quarterback, they're causing turnovers, and even scoring touchdowns here and there. So they've got high upside. Lamar Jackson's made plenty of mistakes. I think they're going to get to him. So I really like the Steelers this week. If not, just roll a cheap one. I mean, you can't go wrong with the Lions, Texans, Cowboys, Ravens. I mean, maybe not the Ravens, but the bottom three. And if you're looking to get really weird, just go bottom three and just pray that they get a pick six or something. So real quick, I'd like to just do a quick build, see what we can do, and then we'll get out of here. So quarterback, like I said, DESHAUN Watson. Feel comfortable with that. We'll look at wide receiver. I'm going to assume Swift is not going to be healthy. So let's go to running back. I'm going to go GIBSON. And then for now, I think I'm going to roll with Gus Bus, my man. Even though Pitt is going to be a stout D, I think he's going to get a lot of volume. He's going to have to score a touchdown, but I think they can do it. They can get in the red zone, and they're going to do it with Gus Bus. So wide receiver, McLaurin, obviously it's the best play in wide receiver, in my opinion. Cooper, for sure. CD Lamb, not a bad option too, I will say, but I think I like Cooper's upside a little bit more. He's showing better rapport, in my opinion, with Dalton this year, and with Dalton healthy, I think Cooper's your guy. Now I think I want exposure into Pittsburgh. We can go with Chase Claypool. I think over Deontay Johnson, only $100 difference, so you can really go either way pretty much. But I think I like Claypool. And then for tight end, as I said, EBRON. And before I pick my flex, let's see where we're at with the defense, Steelers. And that leaves us 5,300 here to work with. Let's take a look. Let's see. Yeah, I think Cooks is my guy. Yeah, Cooks is the other guy I really liked. So that looks pretty good. I think I'll be comfortable with that. So, all right. So that's it. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, give me a like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter. I'll leave those in the description. And we'll see you guys next time. Till then, peace out, Kings.